This is part 1 of my simple game device project. I'm going to show you what I've designed so far and how I approached it. It's not a full tutorial, just an overview of my progress. I hope you enjoy the video. After the intro, I started working on the game boot screen. So for this part, I use Lopaka. It's basically a free tool where you can design simple UI for small displays. I didn't really know it before this. This was actually my first time using it. So I was kind of just testing things and learning while doing. At the beginning, I didn't have anything complicated in mind. I just wanted a simple boot screen that looks like a real device is starting up. So I created a basic layout and added the name Binny Game. Honestly, the name is just temporary. I didn't overthink it too much at this stage. Then I added 8-bit system under it, just to give it that retro feeling. I like that old school style, so I wanted it to look like something from a classic handheld device. After that, I added a loading bar. I didn't want the screen to just stay static, because that feels boring. Even a simple loading animation makes it feel more real, like the system is actually doing something. One problem I had was the font. I didn't really like how it looked. It felt too basic and didn't match the style I wanted. So instead of keeping it, I decided to change it by creating a custom logo. For that, I used an AI tool called Nano Banana to generate a simple logo. I tried a few variations until I got something that looked okay. But then I had another problem. I couldn't just use the image directly. I needed it in a specific format. So I used an online website to convert the image into XBM format, which works with these types of displays. That part took a bit of trial and error to get right. Once the design was ready in Lopaka, I copied the code from there. Now for the animation part, I didn't fully know how to animate the loading bar properly. So what I did was take the code and put it into ChatGPT, and then I asked it to help me animate it. It gave me a version that I could modify and test. After that, I used Wokwi to test the code. That helped me see if everything actually works and how the animation looks in real time. I had to adjust a few things because it didn't work perfectly the first time, but after some small fixes, it started to look better. After finishing the boot screen, I moved on to the main menu of the game. This is the screen where the user chooses which game to play, so it's an important part of the system because it connects the boot screen to the actual gameplay. For this, I stayed using Lopaka because it was already easier for me to continue in the same tool instead of switching. It helps me quickly design UI for the display. In the main menu, I designed 3 game options: Snake, Pong, and Tetris. Each game has its own icon on the left side. I used bitmap images for that, which are basically converted graphics that can be shown on the screen. On the right side, I added the text labels so it's easy to understand each option. The layout is very simple. Icon on the left and text on the right, because I wanted it to stay clear and readable on a small display. I also added a highlight box in the middle area. This is meant to show which option is selected. Right now it's still a basic static version, but later I plan to make it move and become interactive. At the bottom, I added a frame around the screen to make the interface look more structured and clean. After finishing the design in Lopaka, I copied the generated code. Then I combined it with my previous boot screen code, so both screens work together in the same project. I also used ChatGPT to help me animate parts of the code, especially things like transitions and simple movement, since I didn't fully implement that manually. After that, I tested everything in Wokwi to see how it looks in real time. This step is important because sometimes the design looks fine in Lopaka, but behaves slightly differently in simulation. There were a few small spacing issues, so I adjusted them step by step until it looked good enough. So overall, this is still a simple version of the main menu, but it builds the structure for how the game selection system will work later. I used different AI tools to help me build the game system. Instead of doing everything manually from scratch, I used AI to generate and assist with parts of the game logic and design. Then I edited and combined everything to fit my project. After finishing the digital part, I moved on to real hardware testing. This is the first time I tested the system using real components instead of only simulation. I used a board and jumper wires to connect the system and run it in real life. Here you can see the prototype working on actual hardware. It's still a simple setup, but it proves the system can run outside of simulation. Testing it physically helped me understand real-world issues like wiring, stability, and how the output behaves on the actual display. Some things don't work exactly the same as in simulation, so adjustments were needed. This is still a prototype, not a final product. The goal here was to test the idea and see how it performs in real conditions. That's it for this part of the project. In the next video, I will show how I designed the cover of the device using Fusion 360. and how I created the enclosure to fit all the components inside. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next part.